15th of May, I think, the Germans all called the officers of the capitulated Dutch army and navy to become a prisoner of war. First in Nuremberg, then in Stanislau. When the Russians came further west, the Germans evacuated the various camps, and also Stanislau was evacuated we didn't know where, to which other place, but in the end we went on the 11th of January, I believe, I'm not quite sure, with a train with well-known cattle wagons, cattle trucks. I with 3 friends, and we had, of course, already long thought about escaping. And Bijl de Vroe was a really capable man in handicraft, and as soon as we were inside this truck, when we were with plenty of people, I'm not quite sure how many, but anyway, if one turned his body from right to left, the others had to turn their body also from right to left. So you can imagine it was not very spacey. Now Bijl started to make a hole, and he made very cleverly a cut so that this wood could not fall out. So he had a kind of angle, and so as soon as such a piece of wood was loose, he could take it, and later on it could be put back again, which was very convenient for the people who otherwise would have had cold feet. So in the end it was ready. As soon as the train started, he had begun to work, so that and then we went through, and then first Brackel jumped, and then I think and later Benting and Bijl de Vroe also. This went very well. So as soon as I got out, I went, of course, behind the brushwood, and there was no fire, no shot, and the train went on. I went in the direction from where the train came. And then I tried to find Hans Benting, and I started whistling an old alarm signal we had learned on the military academy, and in the beginning I didn't get an answer, but later on I got an answer. And then again I whistled, and it became, I walked in that direction, and again I whistled, and the sound was louder, and well, we found each other. We went on and on and on. I don't know how late we started. It was dark anyway, and then in the end we heard a noise and a rumor really, and we went on, and it became louder, and in the end there appeared to be a kind of dam, and we went on it, and after it was very much noise because it was the Dniester making, and where all the pieces of ice were well, making noise to each other. We couldn't cross. That was not possible. We saw a little village, and in the far, but the first house we knocked, there was a woman with a man somewhere, a neighbor apparently, and a little boy, about 10, 12 years old. And they were very friendly. We could come in, and so on. We got something, I don't know what, I remember it, don't remember. And then we said that we wanted to go across the stream. I don't know the words, we couldn't speak any Ukrainian, of course, but it's surprising that so well one can express oneself, even if one doesn't speak the language. This boy was prepared to go over with the young man to the boat, and he brought us over, bowling through the ice. And then we knocked again at the door, and immediately it was opened, and it was a small man, and We had to come inside, and he was friendly in every respect. It's a very small house. Alexander apparently appeared to be his name. I think he must be a saint. Anyway, he went on his knees, and he saw that I was limping a bit, and he came with a bottle with a little bit of camphor spiritus in it. And he started, I had to do everything out, and he started to rub my knee, and well, it was touching, really. And we wanted, in fact, only to have a place somewhere in the haystack or so, but we had to go into a bed. We went to bed, and we deserved our sleep, really, because we didn't have had sleep since Stanislaw, and we had walked all the time and had made the journey. In the middle of the night, we were, to us, apparently it seemed to us the middle of the night, we were awakened, and there were a lot of people. And amongst them, there was a French woman, a woman that spoke French. Next morning, a neighbor came, and he had promised that he would lead us out through the village. It was again getting late, and then we wanted to know where we were, and then we saw a farm on the top of a hill, and asked, knocked the door, and out came a very big man, tall man, and somehow we asked for Dolina, so that is Dolina, and you know, that way, and then he said, yes, 6 miles. And he was pure American, I think, and we asked him, he said, yes, and how do you get here? Trapped by that fucking war. No, that certainly must have been true. And I think also that it was about 6 miles. We met a sledge with an old man, I think, and he did as if he didn't see us, but when I looked around, he looked around too, so he noticed us. And then a little later, I had again a notion that someone was following us, and that were about 2 or 3 men, I think 3. And well, again, we tried to lengthen our steps, but without any result. In the end, we thought, well, they follow us and we can't get rid of them. We'll stop. And we stopped. And they came. And they said, we're friendly. And asked for Ausweis. And we had again, we showed what we had. And again, we told our story. And we wanted to go to the direction of Dolina. And we went on. And again, we took the first farm that we met with a little light on it, and we knocked on the door, and we said, Zimna, Zimna. And because we had, I only knew what was Zimna, that was cold, I think. Zimna, Zimna was very cold, and Zimna, Zimna, and yes, Zimna was very hot. That was about all our vocabulary. Yeah. So we were, oh, we should come inside. And we came inside, and there was a smell of napkins and milk and smoke perhaps also. Anyway, it was warm and smelly. And we went inside. There were plenty of children, and the mother, of course, very busy. Little children went to their mother. In the meantime, the farmer, he had a talk with his wife, and there came a kind of sour milk with potatoes, boiled potatoes, and we should eat it. Well, it was impossible to eat it all, because there came so many potatoes and so much milk that, well, we tried to be polite, but we couldn't eat more, really. And Hans was very good with the children. He had lumps of sugar, and he gave the children sugar. And chocolate he had also, but they didn't like chocolate. They wanted the sugar more. We wanted to sleep, and there were 2 benches, and we could lay on there. We were very fortunate, and we were just trying to get out of our clothes, and then all of a sudden the whole room was full with people. Then we were called agent provocateur. Then I took off my in the identification mark as a Dutch officer. Then we had to go out, and there was a sledge with 2 horses for us. So and then we on, and it was snowing, and I felt like Napoleon. I mean, it was wonderful. And we went on and through wood. Then we came in a village where we had to be very quiet, and we could go. It was a big room. There was a rich kulak, they said, a farmer, and we went to sleep. There was an Ukrainian partisan, I must say, with a rifle sitting next to the door. He was apparently not allowed to say anything at all. He didn't say anything at all. He didn't move either. He just sat there. He didn't sleep, and we stayed inside, and we slept soon. Then we stayed there the whole day. There was a lovely lady, wife of the farmer, and she had a delicious soup and bread with sausage, and we were wonderful. That's everything wonderful. And then in the evening, I don't know whether it was the evening of the same day or the next day, then came the man with the fur coat again, and he said that we should go on.
So from there on you went on to Hungary, yes?
Then I became really man in a group. I just followed the leader. Of course, this man with the fur told us a little bit about the Ukrainian history, and well, that was that, and after the first war, and of Vlasov, and of course living south of Rotterdam, I knew also, I had forgotten the name, I beg your pardon, but that Konovalets was there given a parcel which exploded in Rotterdam. I knew that, of course, but that was 37, 38, I'm not sure. Positive, yeah. Certainly.
But
certainly.
They treated you on the whole correctly.
Very well, yes. No complaint, no, not at all. And also, of course, for the farmers, it was not always so pleasant to have 2 hungry or more hungry young men be their guest. As soon as I was brought from this one farm, from that moment on, we were with the right people. That was the feeling. And where it would end, well, we hoped for the best, and that was the best. I am very grateful the way I have been treated. I have been so fortunate. We did not know that the Germans would shoot every prisoner of war they would get. We didn't know. And afterwards it appeared they did. And nearly everyone who left the camp during that transport and was not immediately arrested, who later was killed and murdered and tortured in Mauthausen and in other places. Even people who managed to get as far as the Dutch border and got caught there were liquidated in Mauthausen.